I love it. You
You
just
just
need
don't
to
know
have
what I'm drinking.
you just need to have an office cam 24/7. We'll lock you in.
Come on over.
All right, it looks like we are live on YouTube.
Good.
Councilmember Mitchell, can you hear us and can we hear you?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Nice picture of your ceiling.
All right, now stay out of my house.
You put me in.
How are y'all today?
I'm great.
How's Minnie doing behind you?
She's good.
Good.
She's good.
She looks tucked in.
Mr. Mitchell, you're all connected?
Oh, yes, I am.
Good.
There's
What's up, Marie?
Marie, where's your puppy?
Eating.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
He'll probably wind up making an appearance.
How are you, Marie?
Ah,
That's all I can say, too.
Vanessa, are you on the line? Vanessa?
I see Ross Appel's shirt. It's kind of casual today.
Must be surfing.
Yeah, I think he is.
All right, we got enough folks here to proceed. How's everybody doing?
Well,
Good. Good.
Good. And Ross is going outside. Oh, let me show y'all something I learned how to do.
Oh,
I've heard about this.
what is that?
You can put up a background, anything you want.
Really?
Yeah.
You have to upgrade your Mac to the latest software, and then you can put all sorts of crazy things back there. You could also put a picture of yourself, Mayor, and then you can go wander off.
Yeah.
don't give him any ideas.
Yes, you can do that.
Exactly.
I've heard all these.
Oh,
tricks.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to have really updated software.
I see. Okay.
Oh,
Back it
I want
off.
to try this.
See Rick back there.
This is when we have too much time on our hands.
All right, good to see you, Mr. Mitchell, Councilmember Mitchell.
Oh, yes, I'm here.
All right, you're looking
Figured
good.
out. All right,
Okay.
so I'd like to call this meeting to order and Madam Clerk or Jennifer, if y'all would call the roll, I would appreciate it.
Councilwoman Del Chapo,
here.
Councilmember Shealy,
Here.
Councilmember Saccharin,
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Councilmember Brady,
Present.
Councilmember Gregory, Councilmember Waring,
I'm here.
Councilmember Seekings,
Here.
Councilmember Shade,
Present.
Councilmember Griffin,
Here.
Councilmember Appel, Councilmember Appel,
He needs to mute
He's
himself.
on mute.
Councilwoman
Sorry about that.
Jackson,
Here.
Here,
Mayor Tecklenburg,
Here. Councilmember Jackson, could I call you on the spot to say a little invocation for us, a prayer?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Lord, we continue to need and ask your presence. We continue to love how you're loving our city. Help us to love it with you by doing everything we can in our power as you give us the inspiration. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Sorry for the 2-year-old crying. I'm going to put him on mute.
Okay. So Shannon's staff, I believe, should be online, and he's going to give us an update as to the city's response as of today to coronavirus. Shannon? Are you out there? Okay, he's not quite there yet. Rick will give him a call. I spoke to him just a few minutes ago. So we'll wait for him to come online. One issue that came up today from a few council members was, and we had a lot of questions, honestly, from businesses about this essential business list and what's allowed and what's not. So, and the list, even though it's very broad, I admit, you know, sometimes you don't think about everything that's out there, and sometimes we might have some business that's a little different in this part of the country than the National Homeland Security folks that came up with that original list. So we came up with a little process by which people will be able to submit a request to consider whether they would be essential or not, or allowed to operate during the next 2 weeks. So Susan Herdina, are you on the line? Okay. Let's see, both of them are on the line, but they're muted for some reason. Let me see if I can find them and unmute them. What's his phone number?
What's your phone number there?
Last 4 digits.
Mayor,
Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, this is Susan. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Susan.
good. I think I just got unmuted.
Okay, I gave you a little intro about our form and the process for essentials. Could you pick up on that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good afternoon, council members.
Good afternoon.
Just as a little bit of background, we, as the mayor said, we have fielded a number of questions today regarding the implementation of the stay-at-home ordinance. And the questions have, in addition to coming from council members, have come from the citizens and businesses. And some of them are in the nature of, do I fall within the essential services list or not? And other questions or comments are from citizens who are just generally raising questions about activities or possibly other issues. And so what we've done today is to set up a process to deal with these inquiries. And we're all assuming we're going to get a number of these over the next few days and probably tailor off after that. But what I would just like to do is sort of take you step by step of what we're doing, and then happy to answer any questions about it. But the system that we're using is largely fashioned out after the system we already have in place in the legal department for responding to FOIA requests. But we have done some tinkering and adjustment for this particular process. So the first thing is we are loading on our website. If it hasn't been done already, it will be done very soon today. And it is basically a form that we're directing people to, and we're asking them to first take a look at the ordinance, which will be there on the website and attached to this notice, and ask themselves if they fall within one of the essential categories of services or not. There's just been a lot of people who frankly haven't looked at the list close enough yet, and I think if they take the time to do that, A lot of
Mhm.
questions will be answered. But the first step is take a look at the ordinance. Do you fall within this or not? If you do not, then there is a few short questions that they're being asked to describe the nature of their business and how their activities will support the essential services to promote the health, welfare, and safety of the city. Again, very short, one pager, asked to give their email address or other contact information. Due to Cameron and IT's help, that form is going to be transmitted immediately to the legal department. And the legal department will have access to that. And we have, and will basically be reviewing that. We've put together a task force that is made up of a couple of the lawyers, as well as Mark Wilbert and the PIOs. And we are going to look at each of the requests and then shoot back an email to the requester as quickly as we can, basically telling them, and it's going to fall into probably three categories. One, you know, your service is already listed under, for example, category 11 or category 5. Two, you have not given us enough information to answer you. Please provide us with more explicit information so that we can respond to you. Category 3, if it would be a no, you are not included in the list at this point in time. In those particular cases, and I can't give you an example right now, but I know there will be some. We are going to, the group will be looking at the ordinance, looking at the Homeland Security guidelines that are included in our essential activity list, essential service list, and making a recommendation to the mayor about whether that activity appears to be supporting one of the essential services and should be added to the list or not. I anticipate that all of this is going to move as quickly as we can. And I don't want to make any promises, but today we talked about ideally moving this, you know, within a very short time period, 24 hours. I mean, the task force that we formed is going to be meeting regularly, at least once a day, to look at these requests and provide answers one way or the other as soon as we can, because we understand there are a lot of questions out there that need to be answered quickly. That is where we are right now. As I said, we fielded a number of questions already today and responded by email already to some of them. And as I said, it appears that some people simply haven't taken the time quite yet to digest the list. It is dense. And we think that once people look at the list, their questions will be answered one way or the other. And then, as I said, if it's not, then they should complete the form. It will be sent to legal. We will come up with a response and then a recommendation to the mayor for him to consider if the service needs to be added to the list. And that is where we are right now, Mayor.
You muted, Mayor. You muted yourself.
All right, sorry about that. Any comments or questions? Councilmember Griffin?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Susan. Susan, I spoke with Chip McQueenie earlier today about
Yes.
3 specific occupations, and he was going to check in y'all's legal meeting today and let me know. I never heard back from him on those 3. I don't know if you have those 3 handy and you could just let me know whether or not they're okay or not. You can just email me
Sure.
like after the meeting.
Go ahead, Mayor.
No, I was just listening.
My other part was, while these businesses are being vetted as essential or not essential, are we going to allow them to operate until they get a resolution, or do they have to close and then try to reopen if they're deemed to be essential? Because it's going to be very hard once you close the doors to get your employees back. I'm sure they're letting their employees know to file for unemployment if they're thinking they're non-essential, and the ordinance goes into effect at midnight tonight. So how do we go about that?
Mayor, do you want to answer that one? We have discussed
I
it.
would say that if someone's put in a request and we haven't had the opportunity to get back to them yet, to give them a day's grace, and by the end of the day tomorrow, we'll certainly try to get back to them, let them operate.
So they can operate tomorrow. They can stay open if they put in a request.
That's correct. If we haven't had the opportunity to get back
Right.
to them.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think that's fair enough. I mean,
That's very fair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
okay.
And Councilmember Griffin, we can talk later, but we are aware of your requests and have considered them, and we can call you back and talk about those after the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Great. So Shannon Scaff, he tried to sign back in again, but I don't know if we can hear him. Shannon? Yeah, he's
Might be on mute.
I can. Oh, there he is.
Mr. Mayor, are you there, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Appreciate you having me on tonight. I'll have my remarks brief here, but for the fifth time in the last 21 months that I've been fortunate enough to say that I'm a part of this team, we're seeing a full activation due to a crisis. Whether it's the hurricanes Florence, Michael, Dorian, of course our bridge runs, and now this coronavirus, which is definitely the most challenging contingency that I've seen in my 26-year career. In each of these disasters, I've been very proud of the talent across the city. I want to convey my appreciation for the hard work and dedication of our 15-person incident management team that is operating the Municipal Emergency Operations Center virtually. Our command and general staff meeting yesterday morning brought to light that while many of us are working from home, our city staff continues to provide exceptional services to the community despite the crisis. That speaks to the dedication of each and every employee of the city of Charleston. External partnerships have been key thus far. MUSC, DHEC 180 Place, the Citadel, the United States Coast Guard, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and many, many others have come together on this. This has truly been all about Team Charleston at this point. And I would like to echo our mayor's comments from his press conference yesterday, and that there is indeed no challenge that we cannot face together. Our focus will continue to be on solidifying our plan related to the homeless, supporting our medical partners where we're able to, and preserving our workforce over the long haul as we stand to be in this crisis for a good bit. In terms of numbers, today, the last numbers I've received is South Carolina is at 424 cases with 7 dead. Charleston County is at 52 positives and 1 death. Berkeley County is 5 positives and 0 deaths. And those numbers are derived from the reports from DHEC. Pending your questions, that's all I have.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, this is Dudley.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman.
I have one question. Do we know how many tests have been given?
On average, and this is just a report that we've received from MUSC, they average about 250 tests a day at the Citadel Mall location. Mayor, have you heard other than that, sir?
No, I think the DHEC does have a stat out there, a number on how many tests have been given statewide. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay. And Mayor, I had one other question, and
Yes,
this
sir.
one's probably for Susan, and I think I know the answer. I just got a call from a couple of churches wanting to know whether or not they can have drive-through communion.
Well, that's an interesting question. That's the first one I've gotten of like that.
I think it's quite interesting.
Well, we're allowing drive-through food and
Yes.
beverage.
Yeah.
So my response would be yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. All
I
right.
would just tell them, be real careful.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Councilmember Saccharin, you had your hand up a minute ago.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. And thanks, Shannon, for your continued hard work. Just a quick question. Is there a place that you can point us to where we're looking at some of the state-by-state numbers? I would just be interested to see how South Carolina is faring versus the other states that are maybe have more lax systems in place. Is there a place that we can look?
Yes, sir. I know that they're out there. How about, it's not coming to me right now, but how about I get that information back to you?
Cool, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I believe Johns Hopkins has a fairly good set of stats out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I
Thank
would
you.
recommend.
That's right. Let y'all know, we have our own GIS site that updates the numbers for Charleston County and the state of South Carolina every day. And, I was looking to see if I can find it on my phone, but Robert Howe from our GIS system has got great local and state info updated every day. It's on the city's website.
Mr.
All right.
Mayor,
Councilmember Griffin.
can I just clarify one thing real quick? I made a comment that the way that I said it wasn't right. Chip McQueenie, I emailed him this morning, and he literally called me within a minute from the time I emailed him. So I got to give him some kudos about how fast he responded. I think that the question I had needed a lot more clarification. So it's not that he didn't get back to me or anything like that. He did a great job, and it was very, very helpful to me. And I can't reiterate enough how great our legal staff has been through all of this.
Well, great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Councilmember Shade.
Yes, sir. Susan, I forwarded to you yesterday a laundry list with some suggested changes to the essential services.
Yes.
And you've had your
I
chance.
think what we're going to be doing is vetting those tomorrow, and then making recommendations to the mayor about possibly making a modification to the list. We felt like we needed to slow it down just a little bit while we pulled together all the inquiries. And so at this point, I would foresee taking a look at those, and then perhaps at tomorrow's meeting, the mayor will be talking about some potential modifications to the list.
And one of the things I did not include, and goes along with what Councilmember Gregory had brought up about clergy, and I mentioned it last night at our council meeting, is that clergy making house calls should be allowed.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything
And
else?
they're not specifically on that list, so I think we were going to include them. We had also talked about making it clear government operations,
Right.
Jails,
Like
courthouses.
yeah, well, I want to make sure the jail stays open or closed.
Yeah. Right.
Your Councilmember Shealy has his hand up.
All right. Councilmember Shealy.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask Shannon, I know we have 52 in Charleston County. Do we have any breakdown of how many of those are in the city of Charleston, or what areas those may be? Do we get any of that information?
That's a great question, and it's actually in line with one of the 5 objectives that I put out there for our incident management team to maintain situational awareness for all. Unfortunately, to this point, at the time of this conversation, we're not able to get into that level of detail yet, but we are communicating through the county and by other means to let DHEC and others know that we're very interested in having that, and more to follow there. I think we may get somewhere with a little more detail on it, but we have nothing at this point.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? We didn't really have a lot on the agenda today, but to give you this brief update. Tomorrow,
Mr. Mayor,
we'll have our community
Councilman
development
Mitchell?
at 3 o'clock. Councilmember Mitchell.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, would you explain to the city committee what we plan to do tomorrow so they'll be aware?
Oh, yes. So we did look into kind of melding, having a joint live and virtual meeting together, and it really, it's very difficult to pull off. So we're going to have the community development meeting tomorrow, virtually, a Zoom meeting, just like we're doing this. Councilmember Mitchell, I've invited him to join me here at my office. And if anybody else one more person would like to join us, we'd have 3 here together, but it wouldn't be open to the public. So in effect, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, our community development meeting will be as we're meeting here by teleconference, by Zoom. And it will be public. It has been publicly noticed, and the public will be able to call in if they like to listen.
Mr. Mayor, this is Keith Waring. Could we maybe have Ms. Shaw Johnson sent out to all members of council and whoever wants the information, some of the guidelines when it comes to spending Title I monies? I don't know if you all saw an email from Steve Saltzman that went out to the board members of the LDC and team members. I'll be happy to forward it after this call. But one of the things he made mention was accessing Title I monies would be a little bit more difficult. I'm paraphrasing, but it would take longer to deal with the guidelines of compliance with Title I than actually going to the SBA. So I will forward that email if you all have not received that today. But I think it would be very helpful to all on council if some of the spending guidelines and how those dollars are to be used would be provided to all members of council and whoever you else deem should get it, Mr. Mayor, prior to tomorrow's meeting. I think it would make that meeting a lot more fruitful into how we should go about trying to work out a solution.
Okay. Well, you'd send that around.
By the way, did anybody else get that email from Mr. Saltzman today?
I don't recall seeing one.
Okay, good. I'll forward it out after this call.
Yeah, I did not get it, so that'd be great. And send it to the clerk's office, so if anybody else wants to receive it, we'd be glad to.
That'd be great. I'll do that.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor? Councilman Gregory. And one thing that letter does not really talk about with respect to Title I is Section 109, which is really Title VI, Benefits, Services, and Participation. That also has to be applied. And we can talk about a little more about that.
That's Section 106, you say?
It's really Section 109.
109.
Yeah, but it's really Title VI.
Title VI. Gotcha. All right, we'll ask about that.
That's the non-discrimination provision.
Right. Gotcha. All right, so we'll have that meeting tomorrow at 3, and then we'll also be on tomorrow afternoon for 5:30 as well. Anything else? Anything else for the good of the order? All right, thank y'all for signing in.
All right, thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Be safe.
Bye. See ya.